good evening. You've got More Than Money. You've Gene Dickinson, your host, your personal financial advisor. Happy to be with you, happy to serve you. For the next half an hour, I am at your service and pleased to be so. If you're a loyal viewer, first of all, thank you. Very, very kind of you to spend part of your time consistently with us. It's a fantastic thing indeed. If you're just joining us for the first time, there's a few things that you might wish to know in advance of investing a half an hour of your time. Number one, we answer questions directly back to our audience. So we lay claim, boldly lay claim to being the most relevant financial show on television today, no matter what station, no matter what time slot, coast to coast and border to border, because we put you first. You are the most relevant part of this entire process. I am a servant at best. You are in charge. You're in charge of what we discuss. You're in charge of the questions that we look at. You're in charge. If you'd like to join us and be in charge, all you need to do is send us your questions by email. Gene@askmtm.com works very, very well. We have an entire team of financial advisors that answer our questions back to everyone who sends their questions in. So whether your question appears on a future show is a different issue and one that will unfold over time, but whether you get good quality, precise and professional information best to serve you, that's a given. That's an absolute promise to you. For those of you who have on occasion sent us emails going, you didn't answer my question, check your spam filter. That's always a good start. So again, before we get started, a little peek behind the scenes. In addition to the questions that we receive, daily from our broadcasts, asking questions and getting a request for support or information, we also get a fair number of emails that simply have really wonderful things to say about our show. That is very much appreciated. I have threatened, it's the right word, I have threatened to have an entire show of just compliments to me, and that makes no sense whatsoever, which has been pointed out to me by folks who have far wiser approaches to our show than I. Now, the idea that on occasion I get, my apologies, a bit snarky if somebody asks a question I find offensive or somebody suggests a course of action that's just totally against our value system. Now the idea that we might have a snark week, that's almost a certainty. That's almost certain to happen in the near future. So again, if you're a loyal viewer, you might want to hang with us because it's been announced now and it's likely to happen. If you're just joining us, you might want to stick around regularly to see when that actually occurs, because snark is, it has been suggested, snark is some of what I do best. But we shall see. But again, for all of you, send those very, very kind emails. I appreciate that very much. It means a great deal to me and to my entire team. We have a tremendous team of advisors answering questions, and it means the world to them as well. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, shall we start? We answer questions. Let's go to our first question. Headline on the screen. What's the best way to help our son? I am a new viewer of your weekly show. I find the shows very informative. Excellent. My wife and I are in the fortunate financial position of being able to help our son with the purchase of a home. Excellent. This assistance would be in the six-figure range. Way more than excellent. I am seeking your thoughts on two related matters. Number one, I feel we can structure the assistance as a gift or a low-interest loan, perhaps in a mortgage form. I wonder if you could discuss the pros and cons. We have money in taxable mutual funds, retirement accounts. I am retired, my wife next year, and Roth IRAs. I would appreciate your thoughts on whether we should take the money from one account or another. Well, first of all, outstanding. Helping kids, grandkids, it's one of the best things that you can do, in my humble opinion. It gives you great joy. Undoubtedly, helps out the next generation, gives you the opportunity to see the impact, the positive impact, the joyous impact of funds that in all likelihood would have ended up in their hands anyway. So rather be gone and miss out on all the fun, might as well participate in all the fun. And I endorse the idea terrifically. Caution, the question between gift and mortgage is a function of a couple issues that are not financial. As this emailer has stated, they are in the rather envious position, outstanding, wonderful position that they are able to assist without any negative impacts to themselves. So could it be a gift? It absolutely could be. Could it be a loan? It absolutely could be. The difference between those two approaches really isn't financial. It's really more the impact that either you wish or is necessary to be had on your son and his family. If your son has an excellent job, doing very well, works very hard, has all those wonderful attributes that we pray our kids have, then I have no qualms about making it a gift. I have no qualms at all about just simply saying, we love you, here it is, God bless. If, on the other hand, the reason for this necessity for assistance, he hasn't done very well. He's made some poor choices. His financial instincts are not very good. His financial skills are not very good. And we're kind of in a position where if we don't help, he can't buy a house. Then I would absolutely make it a loan. I don't know that I would make it a low interest loan. I think I would make it a market loan, market interest rate loan. Currently, gosh, in the 6% range at the moment of this taping, the 6% range. That could absolutely be different as you're watching this show. So check to make sure that current market rates are in your mind. But let's use 6% as an example. Gosh, I think my first mortgage 1,000 years ago was at 9.5. I ended up with several in 12 and 14 and 16. So 6 is a gift. I understand in relative terms, recent relative terms, it doesn't feel that way when mortgage rates just 4 or 5 years ago got down as low as 1.99. 6 seems pretty high. But if it's intended to assist in developing discipline, if it's intended to assist in developing skills and good, solid judgment on the part of your son, then yes, a mortgage is a very, very wise idea. Very wise indeed. And a mortgage, a proper mortgage, in writing, properly done, registered at the courthouse, so that, again, if your son has not demonstrated good financial skills in the past, you can at least bail, secure the asset through the mortgage and not end up exacerbating whatever poor judgment he might demonstrate. None of that is suggested in the email. I use that as a caution, and I use that, you asked my opinion, gift or mortgage. It does not depend on the finances. You can afford to do either. It depends on the impact that you wish to make on your son. Now, where should the money come from? Well, there's going to be a tax issue, likely. There's going to be a tax issue independent of the 3 types of accounts that we talked about, investment account, mutual funds, et cetera, IRA or 401k, and then the Roth. Now, some would say, no, there's no tax impact on the Roth. There may very well be a tax impact on the Roth, even if it's just to remove a substantial block of money from an account that is tax-free for the rest of your life and perhaps the rest of the life, the life of your son. So it could be decades and decades of tax-free income. That's a tax impact that I would be very reluctant to give up. If you take it directly from your retirement plans, IRAs, 401ks, it is ordinary income. It will be taxed on top of any other income you have, and it will likely be taxed at kind of the highest rate. If you're taking it from your investment account, it is likely, particularly you mentioned mutual funds, it is likely that the taxation will be at a capital gains rate. It is possible your capital gains rate will be lower than your actual income tax, ordinary income tax rate. It is also possible your capital gains rate might even be zero. You need to explore that very, very carefully. My gut says that the taxable account is probably the best place to draw these funds from, he tried to say. And if that is not the case, I would be a little surprised, but certainly examine all of those options, either using a tax software package, a financial advisor who can project these things out, and just simply ask, if I want 100 grand coming out of my taxable account, what will the impact be? And the projections will tell you tax-wise and otherwise. Or if I do it from my 401k or my Roth, run those three. It'll take a whopping 15 minutes, 5 minutes apiece, and you'll have your answer for you. Good on you. I'm very, very happy that you wish to help. I am prayerful that you wish to help because your son has done all the right things. But if that is not the case, make sure that you follow up with a little more stringent approach. Well done. Well done, you. Shall we go next, or should we just fuss around a bit? No, let's go next. Moms always worry about their sons back to back. I think no one would argue about that. Young lady writes, I'm 82. I have around $900,000 in my IRA. I'm a 22% tax bracket. Now that's interesting. I'll circle back to that. My son is in the highest tax bracket and is my IRA beneficiary, understandably so. Should I start spending my IRA down so that less will be taxable for inheritance and consequently for distribution? I'm a Pennsylvania resident. I live nicely on my other income. Interesting. Well, nicely on her other income, if she's in the 22% bracket, her other income is substantial and good for you. Excellent. $900,000 in the IRA if she were to pass in the near term. The $900,000, of course, will be included in her estate. In the state of Pennsylvania, direct descendants, in this case a son, are taxed at 4.5%. As you are watching our show, make sure that you check the rates in your state. If, for example, you're in the state of Florida, the answer is zero. There's no income, or there's no inheritance tax in Florida at all. $900,000 is well below the 12 million, 13 million that she's allowed to pass federal tax-free. So we're not totally, we're certainly not going to let this be the deciding factor, either 4.5% where she lives or whatever the tax is in the state in which you find yourself. The fact that she's in the 22% bracket and her son's in the highest bracket, probably somewhere in the 12 to 15% higher bracket, is a very interesting, in my opinion, opportunity. It's that gap, that differential, that delta between, let's use simple numbers, 35 and 20. So if she were to take the entire 900 out, we wouldn't recommend that, but if she were, $180,000. If he were to take that entire amount out, it's $315,000. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of difference. So spend it down is what she says in her question. I don't believe she means that. She lives well on her other income. It's not as if she's going to take the money out and just buy things willy-nilly. That is not suggested by her email. Converting from the current IRA into a Roth IRA is a very different question. That's not spending it down. It's converting it from taxable at his highest rate to tax-free at his highest rate when he should receive the money. Now, she's 82. We hope he doesn't see a penny of this for 18 years as she enters the Triple H Club, Happy Healthy 100. We've started it, borrowed the title, and we're anxiously putting that out into the public venue so that you embrace it as well. We hope he doesn't see a penny for years. Could she, hopefully in very good health, over a period of years, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many she's comfortable, convert this over into a Roth IRA? The answer is yes. Now, having said that, will she pay tax? Of course. Will she pay way less tax than he will? Yes. And in the state of Pennsylvania, she will do a second thing that will end up being beneficial, not dramatically so, but beneficial. It will take her $900,000, less 20%, round numbers, $180,000, down to $720,000. Now in her estate, there won't be $900,000 at 4.5%, there will be $720,000. It's not a tremendous difference, $6,000 or $7,000, but it's a real difference. And it will save her son from needing to take dollars out of an account and pay it at the highest rate. Now, before she does anything, takes out a penny. And of course, she's subject to RMD rules. She already has to take out some money at her rate. That part is unadjustable. We can't save her from that, and that's okay. But as she converts money to the Roth, that will lower her IRA balance. That will also lower her required minimum distribution, RMD, and as a result, she'll pay less taxes year by year by year. That's a very positive thing indeed. So before, again, as I started to say, before she does any of this, please, please, please sit with a trusted, experienced, either financial advisor who knows these issues very well and can project them out for you, or a tax advisor, a CPA, an EA, et cetera, that's very, very comfortable with projecting out these types of taxes. And if at all possible, sounds like it should be, do exactly that sitting side by side with your son. Because as we look at projecting these things out and the impact on you, we also need to be looking at the impact on him. So if the two of you, ideally, have a trusted, experienced tax advisor, financial advisor, tax attorney, an hour of time invested will be very, very beneficial to the two of you and put you on a very, very solid path to making the choices that right now are, I think I should, into a very confident, I now have a plan and I know how to execute it. And that's exactly what you want. Well done. Well done indeed. God bless. God bless. Fantastic. Shall we go next? Take a sip while we paying what she owes or not? That sounds intriguing. Very good. One more page. My apologies. Fighting me all the way. My daughter-in-law is almost 36 years old. She went to 2 colleges. She has student loans that she obtained herself. She never got a degree from either college and is still paying off $160,000 in student loans. Is there any way she can get this amount decreased? Your daughter-in-law, who is a mature woman, made some choices that, this is where the snark in Gene comes out, that a rational person probably would not have made. I'm going to go to several colleges. I'm not going to get a degree, but I'm going to agree to owe $160,000. Wow. I'm going to go to 2 car dealerships. I'm going to look at a whole bunch of cars. I'm going to take out car loans totaling $160,000, but I'm not even going to get a car. It's the analogy is not precise. I get it, but you get my point. At what point in all of this does she not recognize that she's making very poor financial choices? Now, speaking of very poor financial choices, something not asked in your email that I would be asking if I were the parent of a daughter-in-law in this situation, but I would be asking it of her spouse, my son. Do you have a prenup? And if you don't, why not? And if you don't, how about considering a post-nup I'll put a pin in that and circle back to that here in a moment. Now, is there any way for these funds to be reduced? Well, these loan balances to be reduced? The answer is probably. Now, there are a number of legal ways. If she were to serve, particularly there's certain categories of nonprofits. I know in the medical field, there's a tremendous list. I think in the educational field, there's a long list. That if you work in that field for 10 years, it's my understanding that the student loans can be forgiven. I don't know the details, but that's something that you should certainly explore. Number two, I don't know the details either of the past administration's student loan forgiveness programs. They were, it's my understanding, ruled by the Supreme Court to be unconstitutional, so that likely won't be of much benefit, but should be explored. Number three, absolutely going back to the educational institutions that put her in this position. Admittedly, she had a role in this. We'll circle back to that indeed. But going back to those educational institutions, especially considering that in today's world, today's environment, these institutions are under significant pressure from outside viewers saying, hey, in lots of ways, you're not doing the right thing. Bottom line for me would be, hey, you got me into this mess. I was part of it. Let's agree that maybe we were half and half responsible for all of this. I owe you 80 now instead of 160. It is absolutely worth the effort. It is absolutely worth the effort to, if they are resistant, to suggest that maybe this go broader. Maybe this is something she wants to sit down with a local news outlet, sit down, lay this out in front of the public, identify the educational institutions, kind of the position that she's in, and see if that puts a bit of pressure on her. Now, having said all of that, I'm not really clear as a parent I'm endorsing any of that. You've made some really poor financial choices. Is it very possible that you'll be paying these loans off until you're retired? Sure, sure. Lots of folks are in that position, whether it's for student loans, bankruptcies, lawsuits, divorces. There are a lot of folks that get themselves in very deep financial circumstances, and they dig out. And they dig out honorably. You borrow the money. Is there a reason why someone else should pay that for you? In my opinion, I have no trouble with the colleges paying it for you, because they have gotten an egregious amount of money for no real value. So I have no problem with that. Do I have a problem with almost everything else in terms of you simply saying, oh, geez, now I've made bad choices, I should be let off the hook? I don't think so. My opinion. Sir, do we have one more that we can do before we wrap our show this evening? Appears that we do. Emailer says, I own a timeshare and was told by a colleague that I could get out of it by taking the deed to the courthouse and turning it into them. They would contact the company, turn the deed back to them, and let them know I no longer wanted to be part of them. I don't need a lawyer to assist in this process. I would then be free of all future maintenance fees. Is this true? My other concern is about life insurance. Talk about an odd combo. I am a retired member of the teachers union. They are offering a group rate. The issue is that I am now in my mid-70s and I have 3 months to say yes or no. I've already sent the application to them. I don't know of any other options or services. Please help me. I love your show. You give great advice. Well, thank you so very much. Your kind words are much appreciated. Let's talk about the life insurance first. I don't know why you would need life insurance. Group life insurance that you're discussing here would be the highest cost, the highest premium, the highest out-of-pocket, typically, that a person could get, because they're accepting basically anyone. And if somebody has a health concern, they're going to sign up for it. So as a result, their claims are going to be off the charts, so their premiums have to be very, very high so that they can cover their claims and turn a profit. So I would be very, very cautious about continuing with your application unless you can demonstrate to a professional, a financial advisor, etc., that you need the life insurance. So if you haven't already, make sure you talk to an attorney, a state attorney, or a financial advisor who has lots of experience on the estate side and determine, yes, I need this life insurance. And what I expect the answer will be is, no, I don't. Saved all that money. Now, timeshares. Ooh, they have many years ago, people saw them as the great answer to the 2-week vacation, the annual 2-week vacation. They have turned out for many people to be a bit of a nightmare. Now, 30, 40, 50 years later, they're still paying ever increasing maintenance fees, and it is not a very useful process. It is my understanding, we've done a bit of research, that simply taking the deed down to the courthouse and going, I don't want it, doesn't work. Doesn't work, but what does seem to work, and I know there are tons of companies out there that are offering that if you will pay them a lot of money, that they will get you out of your timeshare. What does seem to work, and we have gotten a number of responses from our audience and from our client base that say, if you will contact the timeshare company, you have a 70, 80, 90% chance that they have a process in place to relieve you, to take that timeshare back and relieve you of future maintenance. Generally speaking, very low cost, generally speaking, reasonably accommodating. The larger, more well-known companies, of course, are in a better position to serve you. But it's the first thing that you must do. Don't do anything else until you've explored that option. Interesting questions. You folks have the most interesting lives. It is a pleasure to serve you and get a chance to share a little bit of my experience. 780 years is a long time. I've picked up an idea along the way here and there. So hopefully those ideas are serving you in a useful way. If you have not yet taken advantage, then send me your emails, gene@askmtm.com, and we'll make sure that one of our advisors gets back to you and gives you as much detail as we can. There's no cost. There's no obligation. If you don't want your question on a future show, just put that in your email. We'll respect your privacy as well. So if you've enjoyed the last half hour, thank you so very much. It's kind of you to share your time with us, and you are willing. We'd like to see you next week when we return to this podium for another edition of More Than Money. Good night.